Hello, I'm Ronan from XMusic in Dublin, and today we're going to be talking about the proper setup of a drum kit. The first elements of setting up a drum kit that we'll talk about is the bass drum. The bass drum basically has spurs here on the side, and these allow for you to angle the bass drum upward to send the note out as you play the bass drum. The second element that we would use in conjunction with the bass drum is the bass drum pedal, and that essentially clips on here, and then we twist this here to tighten up against the hoop, and you're ready to go. Next element I'll introduce is the hi-hats. These come on a stand, and basically you set 14-inch mono Byzance hi-hats on a Tama stand, and this part here is the clutch. And the way that that functions is that it allows you to open and close the hi-hats as you play. So you basically twist that there, and voila, they open up. And you control it with your foot at this point. In terms of the setup with your hi-hat and your bass drum, the bass drum should be at your 12 o'clock, and the hi-hat stand, generally speaking, in a 5-piece setup, should be at your 10 o'clock. So you have that kind of motion. When you sit on a stool, your knees generally are below your hips, below your hip line. And we're ready for the snare drum. The snare drum fits in the center of the two like this, and should sit here. This is on a snare drum stand, here at the tripod, here at the bar, the main bar, the central pillar for height adjustment, and then here at the tilter, and this allows you to position the snare in forward or back. But there are many different types of snare drum. You can have anything from a 10-inch by 4 up to a 16 by 16, which is known as a ballad drum, and that allows you for a huge diverse range. This is quite a versatile snare. This will do pretty much anything for you. The next element I will bring in will be the 10-inch tom. Again, it's important to get your setup right. You have to make sure that your snare and your first rack tom are not touching at any point, so that there's no risk of any form of damage being incurred between these 2 points. And try and keep your snare drum a little bit flat. Next element I'll introduce is the 12-inch tom. This is going to be a 5-piece setup. So basically you'll have your snare, your first tom, your second tom, and essentially then at the top of the cymbal stands you'll have 2 lovely cymbals. With the 10 and 12-inch toms, I have them mounted from cymbal stands, but in many cases your toms will be mounted from the center of the bass drum at this point here. But today, for explanation purposes, I'll have the 10-inch tom and the 12-inch tom mounted from independent cymbal stands, and that gives you a lot of freedom in terms of setup and a comfortable positioning. The next element I will introduce is the floor tom. This is your viable connection between the higher toms, the 10s and the 12s, and your bass drum. It's the middle point between these two, and it helps make sense of the toms, the 10s and the 12s, and the 20-inch bass drum. That's it. That's your kit.